What's up guys, it's Jason D'Souza. I hope you all are having a great day. Today I'm going to be talking about how I got my first client in real estate. So right after I got my license, I was pretty shy. I am a natural introvert. I know it may be hard to tell just based on the way that I'm talking to you guys, but I like my own personal space. I like to do my own thing. I don't like to deal with people very much. So it's kind of funny that I got into real estate. But I just didn't feel comfortable telling people that I was a real estate agent because I just didn't feel like I knew anything. I mean, we take the real estate license exam and after that we begin to practice, but you really don't learn everything compared to when you actually practice it in the field. Now at the same time, I was also writing my paper for my master's thesis, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's just a really long, in-depth research paper. And while I was finishing this, I was also learning how to do marketing, make postcards, make flyers, and just the basics of real estate. So I kind of was doing it part-time and also finishing my paper part-time. The only people I really told that I was now a real estate agent were my closest friends. I mean, I really did not want to tell anybody else. I didn't feel confident enough to do it. So as I was going around telling my friends that I was now in real estate, one of them actually told me that his brother wanted to buy a house soon. He was currently with his fiance. They were planning to get married and start a family, so this was the perfect opportunity. In that moment, I was super excited. I thought to myself, wow, my first lead. Things couldn't be better than that, right? My friend ended up telling his brother that I was a real estate agent, and his brother then contacted me to see what information he needed to get started on the buying process. When I got him on the phone, we talked for quite a bit, and I gave him all the information he needed. The lender's information, what steps he needed to do to get started, all of that info. Now, after a few weeks, he finally reached out to me again, and he said he was no longer looking to purchase a home, that he was planning to put things on hold because he needed to get more funds, and that he would be in touch with me. As you can imagine, I was pretty upset in the moment because I was hoping on getting a paycheck because my school loans were right over my head and it was getting a little bit pressing. Now at that time, I decided to put real estate on hold just because my research paper was just taking so much of my time. I just couldn't dedicate myself fully to it. But in the meantime, I was still helping my broker do a few transactions here and there, helping buyers and sellers see some homes when they needed it, but I wasn't actively marketing myself. By the way, for those of you who don't know, when you get your real estate license, in order to practice, you need to hang your license under a brokerage. And those can be companies like Remax or Redfin and other companies that you've probably heard of. Well, in this case, I was actually working under my mom's brokerage because she is also a real estate agent and broker who started her own company about 5 years ago. So at the time, I was helping her with the current clients that we had and working on my paper most of the time. And at the end of those transactions, I would actually get a small cut just for helping out. Now, by the time August rolled around, I finally finished up my paper. I presented it to my chair members, and I was completely done with my master's degree. At this point, I finally transitioned full-time into real estate. But of course, not a lot of people are buying or selling properties at this time of the year, so I decided to focus on marketing and getting my branding ready. I started working on flyers, postcards, online marketing, and everything else that you can think of. And I really loved it. I loved learning how to market to people, and it's really funny because I actually started to enjoy the marketing point of real estate more than actually working with the buyers and sellers. Like I said before, I am an introvert, so I do like doing my own things alone, and I just enjoy it. But here's the problem. I was working about 13 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week on the marketing. I was still door knocking, and I was not getting any clients. I started to get depressed. I started questioning if this was the right career for me. I started seeing all of my friends getting into professional schools like biomedical engineering, medical schools, and here I was getting out of my master's degree to go into real estate. I mean, I was working so hard and not seeing any results. Then on February 13th, 2018, I got this text message. It was my friend's brother finally saying that he was ready to buy a home. I was so excited and yet so scared at the same time because this was my first client. The client that I was able to generate on my own, and it was just such an intimidating thing. And of course, in that moment when he told me he wanted to work with me, I started having all sorts of emotions run through my head. Like, what if I mess this up? What if the deal doesn't go through? I had just started having those what if moments, and that's the worst thing that you can do to yourself. My confidence to take on somebody was just not there because I had never done it before. My biggest concern was, what if he realizes I don't know what the heck is going on and everything just falls apart? Because let's be real here, when you do something for the first time, you don't have the confidence, you don't have the self-esteem to take that on. So when he reached out to me, he actually told me he found a place already. And for those of you who have been in the business for a long time, you already know how rare that is for your buyer to already have a place picked out. Normally you have to go around showing them properties here and there, 5, 6, 7 properties you're driving around, and it can become a pain in the butt. He told me that there was an open house for one of the properties that he really liked, and the only problem was that he was not pre-qualified or pre-approved. This just means that we don't know if he can even afford this place. And us as agents, our first concern is, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my client's time? We always want to make sure that our clients, the people that we work with, are even able to purchase the home that they're looking for. But he really, really wanted to check out this house with his fiance. So he reassured me. He said he was going down to the property. He would tell the agent that he already had an agent, myself, and that things would be a-okay. He went to the open house, he ended up liking the property a lot, and he told me he wanted to write up an offer. I then told him, we're kind of doing this backwards, we need to get you pre-qualified first, and then we can see where you are able to purchase in the price range, and then we can move on from there. My buyer then ended up speaking to my lender, getting pre-qualified, and he was ready to go. With the help of my broker, I was able to write up the offer for the first time. I was able to make sure that all the terms and conditions were included in the purchase contract, and we submitted it, and it was accepted. Now here's where things got a little rocky. I specifically told him before we got into escrow not to purchase anything, not to finance anything, not to run any credit, anything like that that could affect his credit score. And then when we got into escrow, I told him again not to finance anything, not to run his credit, and to just be really careful with what he did. I also called him to drive this home because when a person goes out and they're in escrow and they try to run their credit or try to finance something, it can completely mess up the deal. So I just wanted to make sure that he understood that. Normally an escrow is around 30 to 45 days, but they can be shorter or longer than that time period. It just depends on the purchase contract that you signed. In this case, I think it was around 30 days for this escrow. So after the 30 days of being in escrow, on the final day, the day we're supposed to close, my lender decides to do a soft pull on my client's credit. This was done just to see if their credit score was still consistent with where they had been at throughout the entire time in escrow. So when my lender pulled their credit, he found out that their score had dropped. And this could either make or break that deal. I decided to text my client and ask what happened. What did they do that lowered their credit? He then told me that he decided to finance some furniture because he wanted to move into the home immediately and get everything set up. I could not believe it. I specifically told him not to run his credit, not to finance anything, and he still went ahead and did it. He thought the home was finally his since it was the day of closing. He didn't realize that they still needed to fund and record the property, and that's when it's finally his. And what I normally tell my clients is the home is not yours until you get the key in your hand. Now this was at 10 in the morning, so we still had the full day to figure out if the lender could make this work. About 5 hours had passed and we were still wondering if the deal was going through. And then I got a call from escrow and they said that they were able to close the deal. I was so excited to hear those words from escrow because it was my first deal and it was about to fall through. It was such a stressful day. I kid you not. Everybody was on the edge of their seats wondering if this was going to go through, if my clients were going to get the house, if I was going to get a paycheck. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. I was so stressed out during that time, but luckily it went through. It was honestly such an honor to help these clients get a place. And a lot of people, they get into real estate for the money, and I get it. I mean, everybody wants to make a paycheck at the end of the day, but some of the most fulfilling things that I've done is actually helping my clients get into a home and having them thank you at the end of the day. But anyways, guys, that's my story on working with my first clients in real estate. I hope you guys really enjoyed this story, and if you did, please leave a like, and if you have any questions, you can comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video.